Hello and welcome to the latest MCSB podcast at the University of Glasgow, and it's the first one of 2019 with me, Lucy Alford.
And me, Anir, Pandit.
And today we are speaking to Paul Patterson, the Chief Technician at the University of Glasgow's Institute of Molecular Cell and Systems Biology. Now, to those of you listening who are not from the University of Glasgow, Paul is somebody that is known by everyone in the Institute. However, although known to everyone, perhaps not everyone understands what Paul does in his role of Chief Technician. So therefore, we thought he would be a great person to feature on this podcast to learn more about who Paul Patterson is and what he gets up to. So perhaps you could begin by telling us a little bit about your day-to-day roles. So what is the average day in the life of a chief technician like?
Yeah, just to start, Lucy, I would say that everybody knows me, and not being famous, more infamous rather than anything else. So, the job of the chief technician within molecular cellular and systems biology, it's a really varied role, and I think that's one of the things that is one of the real positives in my job. But there's a kind of background projects and things, duties that we would have, that I would have on a day-to-day basis. One of them would be health and safety, one of them being the general management of the technical staff, so that can be anything from, organising staff development courses, dealing with absences, problems, promotions, performance management, performance development. There isn't really a kind of day where you would come in and say, every day I do this, 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 and this, and this. What I tend to do is, I tend to work off a whiteboard. So for that week, I'll say, I'm going to do this, 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 this. But you can come in one day and suddenly, there's a catastrophe happened, or the director or the head of professional services or one of the senior academics suddenly asks you, how many freezers have we got, who's using this, who's using that equipment, or somebody's moving lab, or there's something happened. So really, it's a whole mixture of that. But the main thing I would say is managing the technical staff, and then underneath that will be health and safety. So you may get something like an accident happens, so you have to do a full investigation of it. You then have to go back to SEPs, so that's a whole day gone. For example, last couple of weeks ago, they're looking to relocate. They're actually getting a grant in for a large electron microscope. So we had to identify where we would put it.
Yes.
We then had to survey it. So that means switching all the freezers off, moving some equipment out, making sure nobody can go in. So that takes up a whole day. But really, it's about being there for the technical staff. It's like being there for everybody. You tend to be the kind of go-to person. Everybody says, if they don't know anything, go and ask the chief technician. He might know, or she might know. And it happens in all the other different places. So really, it's a whole collective thing, but really it's looking after the technical staff and looking after all this. But I've got there's a really good support mechanism as well, with the likes of Craig and the Bauer and Caroline and Joseph Black and the likes of June and all the other senior technicians, even Tony, who really give me a help all the time and things. So that's really what my day would consist of.
Nice.
Which isn't really, it's not really very structured, but I try and make it as structured as I possibly can.
That's absolutely awesome. I mean, I was looking up on the University of Glasgow website. Even if you do a search on Paul Patterson, your name comes up in various sort of roles in the health and safety. You're a convener there.
It does.
You're in the SEPs.
Yep.
You're in the Athena Swan
Yep.
committee as well. So you are everywhere. But I'm just amazed. And what I'm more amazed is you also know almost everybody. Not just everybody knows you, but you also do know everybody.
I think that comes from being in the university so long. I think it's been, as we'll say, I've been in 40 years.
Wow, okay.
Yes, so I started in 1978. I haven't decided whether I'm staying yet or not. But so I started in 1978, but we'll come on to that as the career path goes on. So with that, you do build up a huge network of people. And I think that's one of the most important things within my role, because if somebody says to me, this piece of equipment, do you know who would use that? Then I can go to one of the other chief technicians, or I can go to whoever it is within the network in the States or SEPs or whatever. Then it's building up that network and actually assisting people and things like that. But one of the things I will say is, I haven't got a background in molecular and cellular.
Don't worry, we haven't either.
I told you, I know. Oh yeah, I know that. I listened to your last podcast, so I found out exactly what you do. Cool. So that's where I really have to lean on a lot of the senior technicians who have been in here for a while. But again, that will come through when we start talking about my career path.
Which is exactly the next question. So what exactly attracted you to the technician career path within the academic setting?
Well, what actually happened was I did want to leave school early. I wanted to leave at 16, kind of 17, right? Because I didn't really, at that time, within my school and my friends and my peer group, nobody went to university. The one thing you had to do then, you had to have a language. So what in school they tried to teach you Latin is one of the languages. I've learnt some Latin, but not a great deal. It was either that or French, and so none of my friends. So my mum said, no, you really need to go and do something else, further education. So I went and did a City and Guilds in lab technology,
right,
as a lab technician at Clydebank College, and it was really, really good. Full time for a year, and they taught you so many things. It was fantastic, from going from a workshop to how to make solutions, it was all different things. So then I went to Canada for 3 months to visit my aunt. Thought I might stay there, right? But I came back and a job came up in the old physiology department. At that time it was all departments. It was physiology, pharmacology, biochemistry. And I went for a job in the physiology department, and I got it as a trainee. Cool. So from there, what you did was you got a really, really good grounding then, but you only worked in physiology. You didn't go anywhere else. And just as an aside of that, the real kind of great Satan at that time was biochemistry. Because they were incredibly successful. They're really a big department, and everybody thought the biochemists were going to take us over and things like that. So from that, then you went to college and you did an HNC in biological sciences. That included biochemistry,
right,
which I detested immensely. Right, I just didn't like biochemistry at all. And finally, we came full circle. So after that, I then went into what we did was, in those days, you did half teaching classes, half research. So what you would do is, you would be assigned to a research group, but you would also go and do the teaching classes as well. There wasn't this thing where the teaching was separate. And I thought that was really, really good, because it gave you an idea for both, and you could transfer over. So I went into that, and then progressed on. Then I went into research within exercise science, and that's probably where I enjoyed the research the most. And it was all to do, it was just whole different things. We used to do sports people, but we used to do a lot of clinical stuff as well. And that's where I've met most of my friends within it, and I'm still friendly with John Wilson, who will be listening to this podcast laughing. He was a bit older than me, and I learned so much off John in terms of just lab techniques, research. He was one of the most thorough people I've ever met.
Right.
In that. But that was probably the best time within the research. I then moved into the teaching full time and took over physiology, pharmacology and neuroscience. And we ran the labs in 3 different areas. So that was the other good thing about that was exercise science was just starting. So we were right in at the start. So you had the whole chance to develop experiments and all the rest of it. Then, this is sounding a bit like this is your life, isn't it? From there, I went to, I actually got offered the job of the chief technician within, was then neuroscience and biomedical systems.
Awesome.
We've changed so many names over the years, if you looked at it all through the years. And that was within the old IBLS Institute. biomedical life sciences. From there I went to integrated biology, which again was kind of pharmacology, and then 9 years ago I was asked to take over the technical staff when they were forming the college. Richard Caldwell was the first director then, so that was a real, but it's probably the most unsure I've been, because I thought, I don't know anything about biochemistry at all, you know. And one of the joke ones I used to say to people, I used to say, could somebody show me a PCR machine? So I thought there's this huge big thing's going to come up, and this is here it is here, and I went,
that's
all
it.
right, is it? So that's where I really had to lean on a lot of the senior technical staff, because I had to ask, and the people will know who I'm talking about. There was go-to people I had to go to all the time and say, what is this? What is that? Blah, blah, blah. So I did try and do a wee bit of molecular research, but our present director, Professor Bullied, was very kind in saying, by the time you get even remotely competent, you'll have retired. And he says, we would rather you did something else, which I must admit was a great relief to me as well. So that is where I ended up after all that time in biochemistry, and I never liked it. It's been an eye-opener since I've come in. It's a really different science to going from whole physiology, whole human physiology, or even animal physiology or whatever, to folding proteins, molecular. So it's
and it's booming and it's fast.
It's real. Even when I was leaving exercise science, molecular was coming in. Molecular's everywhere now, and it's real. But what I did notice was the difference in the research was, I see the technicians, the postdocs, the academics, and they do so many experiments over maybe 2 or 3 months, and then you go back and they say, I've not got anything, I need to do it again. I'm like, oh my goodness, how do you keep that? How do you keep your enthusiasm?
Yeah.
I don't know, how do you feel that? Do you see that, Lucy? Do you feel that that's the kind of...
Well, I'm actually, like you, I'm from more of a whole organism physiology background, and the way everything's worked in my career so far is you will spend 3 years working on experiments that last for 3 years, because perhaps you're doing field trials or something, and then write it up. So all your papers will come out at the end once you've completed those 3 years. So coming over to molecular biology now, it's a lot more fast paced. But as you say, people can slave for days, weeks, months, and then have nothing to show at the end of it.
Because I do go around, I like to get out and about, and I'll ask people, how's your research going? And they'll say, fine. But they can't tell you. But it's very, very interesting. The one thing I'll say about the Institute in particular is it is really varied. Yeah. And that's the one thing I really found when I came in. We had, you've got, exactly where you two work, with the Drosophila and the insects and systems biology, and then you've got the plant scientists, and then you've got cell engineering, who's dealing with clinicians, then you've got your folding proteins, then you've got your genetics, and it's just... It's really, really varied. Yes. It's really varied, and it's one of the challenges, because everybody's got different things. One day you can be doing a license, helping Shireen with a license for tobacco moths. Yep. And then the next minute it's GM plants or something, and then so that, I think, is one of the interesting things. That's true. I think the technical staff themselves are, very, very adaptable, and they keep a lot of the things going.
I think,
on the background, not with me, because I'm just kind of sitting there kind of managing it, waiting for something to happen.
I think, especially in our lab, I mean, I can't speak for other labs, but the technicians in our lab are just superb. Would be lost without them.
Absolutely true. I mean, I came into the academia after a long stint in commercial companies, so much so that I did not know there was a difference between a technician and a scientist. And I still do not really see any difference. I think they're both as equally important in the running of a lab, if not more. The technicians are more knowledgeable about certain things and certain protocols. They keep up to date. So, so quite amazed.
I think in some of your questions later on, I think we'll come to it. I think that the role of the technicians changed completely, and I think they're what would you call their status within the university system has increased. There's a lot more recognition about them and things. You know, when I came in at first, nobody would ever get their name in a paper. You know, it was very, very... Now we've got technicians who are first authors, who can do all these things. So the opportunities are really good. I would say, I'm probably a bit biased in terms of, but I think within our institute, I think we've got some of the best technicians within the college. So I hope all the rest of the technicians in the college aren't listening to this and not get any trouble for that. But having said that, the other chief technicians I speak to tell me that their group's the same, but they are incredibly motivated people who do a lot of really good work. And one of the things as well is that I find a lot of our staff are part-time as well. And how they get through, what they get through in 3 days, 4 days, I don't know. But, you know, and there's real opportunities. And even in your lab, we've got Pablo going away to Mexico to do a presentation. Now, you'd never had that in the past. And, you know, that's fantastic to see that kind of thing now. And it's really going on and on.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Next one. Well, would you have any advice to young budding scientists who are interested in pursuing a scientific career as a technician?
What I would say was, if you do want to do that, then make your mind up that's what you want to do. Don't come into it as a stopgap for something else to go on and do this, because there is a real career path now. There's a career path, especially within this university. You can go up to grade 9.
Right.
You can go right through to grade 9 to be a specialist. There's loads of opportunities. It is very, as I said, it's very varied. It depends on the technicians are all different, and it depends really what you want to do. Some people really love the research. Some people really like to manage the lab. Other people like that mixture of both. And I think it's really, that's the career. Or you can go into teaching and do the teaching labs and be really involved with the students. But I would say, if you want to do it, then look into it first of all and say, what would you want to do? How would you want to? My advice would be, if you want to do it, go and try and get some experience first of all. There's so many times we do recruitment and there's people come in and they're really, really well qualified, great backgrounds, they just haven't got any experience. What we've found in our last 2 recruitment is that we've had 2 people come in from industry, and they've had a really good grounding. But again, it's a totally different, as you say, industry to academia.
Yes,
it's totally. I mean, they think it's so organised in industry compared to what it is in here. But it's a totally different, because it's very narrow fields of research they're doing. Whereas here, and in terms of being a technician, I would say that there's loads and loads of opportunities. But I would say try and get some experience first of all. Pick something that you like doing. Don't go into anything that you don't. It's like jobs. I mean, I said that to my 2 sons. I said, don't do something that you don't. You know, that you get up in the morning and think. And that's one thing I don't do. I don't get up in the morning and think, gosh, that's terrible, I'm going to my work. After I get into my work, I say, oh man, this is terrible. What am I doing in here? But not necessarily in the morning. So the advice I would be is get some experience, but look into it, because there are really, really good career opportunities. And if you can get on it and it's a permanent job, then it's really, really good. I think it's one of the things I see with particularly postdoctoral staff. It's really difficult, because you know, to make that leap into a full-time job is very, very difficult. Whereas with technical posts, there tends to be, you know, if you're prepared to move about and get experience in different areas. I think that's the other thing as well. I would say to them, you know, don't just work in one area. You know, because we've got people who have came from all different, who used to come from different backgrounds as well. And it all adds to the kind of, all adds to your experience, really, I think.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, one thing which I'm probably not sure about is mentoring. Is technicians, do they have mentors?
We're actually just, our Michelle, our head of professional services, is very keen on getting that up and running. It's something that technicians have never had before. So it's quite difficult to bring these things in if it's not, like for example, like a lot of postdocs or whatever will have come into a scheme where they'll have mentors or so what they're trying, Michelle in particular is trying to bring that in. So hopefully that'll go off the ground and people will take to it.
Cool.
I think there's probably some mentoring going on as well, but not in the terms of kind of like, because people have, other people will phone you up and say, what do you do about this? What do you do about that? What did you think? And I think, I didn't really have mentors. I tended to pick up things off other people, other managers. There was one thing for an old manager I had, and it was a great idea. When you went in to see him, he had a sign behind him that you could see every day they went in, and it said, "There's 3 sides to every story: yours, mine's, and the truth." And I thought that's a great thing. And it's when you actually speak to people, you think, there is 3 sides to every story. But I think it's important that that you take all the things on board and everything, because everybody's different and goes in different ways of doing things.
Cool.
We offered members of the Institute the opportunity to email in questions for you.
Oh gosh.
So firstly...
What do you do? Why are you here? What does he really do? I just see him wandering about the department. Anyway.
So firstly, somebody emailed in asking to know your views on the technician commitment. So for those of you not familiar, the technician commitment is a pledge backed by 35 universities and research institutions throughout the UK to support their technicians. So this aims to enhance visibility, recognition, career development and sustainability for technicians. So how do you feel about...
Well, Anir, I'm a wee bit biased on this one because I sit in the steering group and I went on and on, and people will tell you within the university, I went on and on and on about the technician commitment and how we should be having it at Glasgow University and all the rest of it, and they've now taken it on. We've got a very, very good steering group led by the Vice Principal, Frank Coton. Simon Wilson in HR engineering has done a phenomenal amount to get the whole thing up and running, but now it's all about the technicians taking it on themselves. It's really the kind of byword for it, hashtag or whatever, is by technicians for technicians. So really the only way it's going to work is if the entire technical staff engage in it. And there's real possibilities there if we do that. In terms of things like professional registration, to make it more of a profession.
Right.
Visibility, again, that's all about, there's a really good article out there if the technicians want to read it. It's called The Invisible Workforce. And really what it is it's all about technical staff and how nobody really knows what they do. What do? They make solutions and put stuff out. And that's it. So there's that whole thing. The recognition thing, again, is things like authorships and papers.
Yes.
Sustainability, again, one of the things I was speaking about earlier was experience. There's some apprenticeships coming up which are really, really good, but it's getting that experience to come in and build your career through that and to give a pathway right the way through. So as I said, I'm really biased. I think if we get it going, it's going to be a fantastic thing for the technical staff. Even just small things just now. Through it, we've actually got a couple of workshops going in research integrity. I think you've all done research integrity.
Yep.
So it's
yep.
So it's specifically geared towards the technical staff and what we do. And we had one session, and there's another session today. And research and innovation are really keen on developing that and what technicians can do in research integrity, and we spoke about data management things. So these are just wee things that are coming out. It's a very slow burner like everything. A lot of the technical staff will be very cynical about it. I think they'll say, we've heard all this before. There's a video out there that people can watch where the technical staff spoke about it, and it's a really honest video, really, really good. What they think the positives are, what the concerns were. I think one of the concerns with everything is that it's a management tool to get people to work harder for less money, whatever. It certainly isn't. It's certainly not. It's all about developing, careers. As I said again, sustainability. But I think I would say if you came along to a steering group meeting, obviously, you would actually see the enthusiasm from the university, which is really important. You know, the principal, Professor Muscatelli's on the video.
Yes.
Frank Cotton's is really pushing it in terms of that. So the university behind it, but it's really up to technical staff to grasp it. It's coming on. There's people that are engaging with it, but again, we have to really get examples of something tangible. I think sometimes in the university we're very good at saying we're going to do such and such. We're going to set up a such and such and do this, and we do great.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's nothing. There's nothing. It doesn't keep going. There's no momentum behind it. So really, that's. So my views are it's a great thing, but people would say he'll tell you it's a great thing because he's involved in it and he thinks it's fantastic. But I think it's something that I think we can build on.
Absolutely.
Hopefully. I don't know. It's getting that message out to everybody though,
Mm-hmm.
to the academics as well. But I will say within our institute, we get a lot of, the technical staff do get a lot of support.
Good.
From individual academics and from the director. Both my directors, Richard and Neil, and obviously Michelle is the head of professional services, come in now, so she's developing that as well. But they do get a lot of support. They do get a lot of recognition. The one thing is, the one thing I would like to see is a couple of more younger people coming in at the bottom,
right.
Because we do tend to have a kind of career structure where everybody's at the top. But we do, as an institute, we do a lot. I mean, it came out at the research integrity, the amount of, the amount of names and papers, first authors, and some other institutes were like, oh, would you do that? Yeah. So I would say the academic staff are very, very supportive of the technical staff. That's my opinion.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, you should give credit where credit is due. So
I think that's but I think they are. They're very good at. As I said, you can say we Pat will go across to a conference, and there's other people going to conferences as well. So it's not just that, but it's actual recognition of what you're doing.
Yes. Cool. The second one, of course, which we chose was, although not a job requirement, do you think PhDs are necessary or beneficial for technicians?
Difficult one. I think it would depend on what you really want to do. I think it's a way you can go. It's a different career path. I think what I think one of the things about the technician commitment was as well is having that. I think somebody described it as a mixed economy, right? And they went, no. So it's a mixed blend of technicians. So I think it can be useful. I think it can be helpful. I wouldn't say it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me that somebody's got a PhD. I would say now, I don't think you would get a technician's job in here now without at least a degree. Unless you're coming in on one and even some of the people who are coming in the modern apprenticeships. A PhD, I think if that's a path you want to go down, it's great. Some of the technicians have actually came into the institute with a degree and then done a PhD while they're here. That may well be another path that you could go down. Yeah, I mean, I think since I've come into the university, the whole qualifications have all went for everybody.
Yes.
It used to be a PhD was a kind of, there was only very few people who did a PhD. Now it's kind of you have to do a PhD. But I think there are other career paths you can go down. I think it can be an advantage. I think it can be, depending on what the academic's looking for.
Right.
The institute, if you're looking for an institute technician, maybe there might be slightly, but if somebody's, depending on the academic, may well say, oh, they've got a PhD in that, so I can get them to do research in that area, I can do this, that. But then somebody might say, no, I really want them to manage the lab, I don't really want them to do research. So it really depends. I think it can be, I wouldn't say it was a requirement. No, I wouldn't say that, it wouldn't be something that, personally, I don't know, I can't speak about everybody else, but it's not something that would be a deal breaker for me. If I had 3 people in and one had a PhD and 2 people with degrees, I wouldn't, you need to
Do you think it could ever go the other way and be detrimental? Because I was talking to one of the lab techs in the lab this morning, and he said because he's got a PhD, he actually did a PhD, then he did a postdoc before realising that no, he didn't want to be a postdoc. He was much more interested in the technical side of things. So he's now gone down the technician route. But because he has that background with a PhD and one postdoc, he fears that when he applies for jobs, he's not going to get the job because people are saying, well, he's not interested in being a technician, he's going to leave and become a postdoc when the opportunity arises. So
I think that's exactly, I think that's one of the things that, it's all about perceptions really. You know, some people might think, oh, they're not going to stay here long. I'm not really good, when people stay in, I think it's far better having a good person for 2 years than having somebody who's, and I think it's really, I would say it could be a disadvantage depending on the job you're going for. If you're going for one of the lower grades, somebody might say, nah, they're not going to be, you know, they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to do the next thing. So it could be, I think if you really want to go down that, but I think if you've got experience as a technician and saying, you know, and it's quite clear that's where career path's going, I don't think it would be, but I think it can be. I think you can look a bit overqualified.
Right.
That's not a thing to say, depending on what the job is. If somebody's wanting somebody to run say part of the job's to run a tissue culture area, to manage the lab, to do waste management, to do this, and to do some research, then they might think, well, they're just going to focus in on the research and they're not going to... So it's really one of the things that we do say, and maybe I should say it, if we're doing any recruitment, I usually say, if it's a grant to an academic, I says, what do you actually want? Do you want somebody to come in and manage your lab, or do you want somebody to come in really highly skilled to manage your lab and do that, or do you want them strictly to do the research and train people up and do this, that, and the next thing? And then really that's what the academic member of staff would want, or what the institute want. So I think it can work both ways, and I think, Lucy, it's a really good point if you actually do want to change, and it can go. You know, I think some people think, they're just going to become a postdoc again, or do this, that, and the next thing. So, yeah, no, that is a good point, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to finish now with some quick fire questions just to get a bit, just to get to know you a bit better and what makes you tick.
Oh, God.
So, firstly, favourite food?
Favourite food, I would say, was Indian food. Right, my favourite dish at the moment is South Indian garlic chili chicken. Right.
Okay.
And if you get, as I said, it's probably more Glaswegian Indian food rather than anything else.
I kind of like that as well. Yeah, why not? Have a little bit of garlicky spice in your chicken.
Well, it was quite interesting because I was reading up some articles quite a number of years ago, and it was talking about Glasgow and Indian food, and actually, a lot of the people who'd opened the restaurants were from Pakistan and Bangladesh.
Yep.
So you actually, it was, and they developed like tikka masalas and things like that.
Exactly.
And really, what was interesting one time is, years and years ago, we were working with an academic visiting from India. She was from Jaipur.
Right. Okay.
From Jaipur, yeah. And she invited us up for a meal, and it certainly wasn't the Indian food that we'd been used to. But it was lovely.
Was it better?
And it was so fresh, and the flavours and everything. It was fantastic. So that was Glasgow University introduced me to Indian food, because we used to always go for a curry and a pay night on a Friday. Italian food as well. I love Italian as well. But if I was having my last meal, it would probably be a really, really nice homemade macaroni cheese.
Hey.
My aunt used to do it, never left us the recipe, and nobody's ever made it. Nobody's ever made it like. But my wife she makes a fantastic one as well, so I can't really complain about that.
Well, favourite city? I probably know the answer to that.
Favourite city, there's a couple of favourite cities. I loved Rome. Okay. Rome was fantastic, because I'd always liked all the history about the Roman Empire, and Rome was fantastic. We walked everywhere and saw it, and it was great. A city I went to a couple of years ago, and it really struck me, was Lisbon.
Right.
Lisbon was fantastic. Oh, it's just such a beautiful place. It really was. It was lovely. So I'd probably say at the moment I kind of flit about between Rome and Lisbon. Glasgow isn't my favourite city. I live here.
Exactly.
I live here. I live here. I love it, but it's not my favourite city. So I would say either Lisbon or Rome, and that's my two favourite countries at the moment are Italy and Portugal. I would say Italy's probably my more.
Well,
I just love Italy and the whole kind of Italian culture and everything. It's a fantastic place.
have you been to India?
No, I've never been to India. My couple of my relations have been. They've been to Goa.
Uh-huh.
My niece as well, which is quite an interesting story. She went over to do a huge Indian wedding
Okay.
from a steel magnate,
Ooh,
which
okay.
lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
And it
I'm
was
sure.
themed every day.
Yep,
So
yep.
after that, she had quite an interesting story. They gave her money to tour around India. They'd arranged it all. So they went to the Taj Mahal, and what she found, she says, people were coming up all the time and looking, staring at us. And she, I don't know what this is. She's a model, so they kind of thought, right, but it wasn't. It was because they had blue eyes, and they hadn't seen a lot of blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So then, but she did that, and then she went to Goa, and she said it was. Everybody I know that's been down to Goa said it's fantastic, but it's somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I see these. Travel is the one thing I would do.
Aye.
People say, would winning the lottery, or would it change your life? It wouldn't change my life in terms of family and things. The one thing I would do is travel, and I would love to see everywhere. I see things on the telly, and gosh, India looks fantastic.
Oh.
Looks very busy, mate.
No, it is.
I've been to Egypt, which was very interesting as well.
Favourite musician or band?
All right, now we're going way back, way back to. I used to love punk rock.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
fantastic.
favourite band of all time was the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, gosh, I never would have put you as a Sex Pistols fan.
And I don't know if we're allowed to say the title of the album. Never mind the. Well, I don't know. Are we allowed to say bollocks? I don't know. You need to edit that out. So never mind about. It's my favourite album ever. And I just
Wow.
listened
Wow,
to
okay.
it. So I like the whole punk scene, but then I also like a lot of Motown.
Cool.
So it's really. If you looked at my playlist, but you'd think, oh my goodness.
Very eclectic.
Oh gosh, it's all over the place. Elvis, everybody. There's all like, oh, it would be, yeah. My mum and dad used to on a Sunday they used to play records. This was their thing on a Sunday. They used to get the record player out. So it was Jim Reeves, Dean Martin,
Nice.
all the Rat Pack, all that
Oh,
stuff.
very nice.
So you listen to all that. So they come along, and things. So yeah, I would probably say kind of punk rock.
So do we have any photos of you looking like Johnny Rotten
Exactly
from back
the
in the
hair.
day?
No, I don't think so. I think
No.
that was long gone. I don't think we had phones. Well, we didn't have camera phones in
Of course
any days.
not.
So you'd have to have taken a camera. And
Oh, I'm
nobody
sure
did.
there's something
No,
out
I'm
there.
telling you, everybody used to, or what you used to do is you used to get a camera and you used to take pictures, but then you never got it developed.
Yeah.
And then you would go and get it developed about 6 months later.
Oh, yes.
Where's that picture from?
Or worse still, the film had got ruined in the 6 months you were taken.
Yeah. These
Yeah.
disposable cameras we all used to use in the days. Having said that, I think a few of us are quite glad there wasn't camera phones in the days. Because you could do things that you didn't get caught out with. And clips and things appearing on Twitter or YouTube or things like that. Sorry. Okay.
Right, favourite film?
Favourite film, I would probably go with Goodfellas.
Okay.
Where Robert De Niro's my favourite actor. I think Robert
Right.
De Niro's fantastic. He's done so many things, from comedy to serious,
Oh, yes.
and he's just fantastic. It's the kind of gangster thing. I think
Oh,
that's
yes.
maybe where I like the Italian thing. I better not say that because it was. But I think the thing about that film, I think that was really good. It kind of showed you the kind of glamorized the whole kind of mafia gangster thing.
Yep.
But then you see at the end his whole life breaking down in front of him, and I think it was a really good film to. It was based on a true story as well.
All right.
But I think that's what really attracted me to that, was that it shows you, well, that's great, look, we're going to nightclubs and then you just see him and his whole life and all his associates all just suddenly crumbling away.
Yep.
So that would be that.
Nice.
Favourite TV programme?
Oh gosh, that flits about. I really like Only Fools and Horses. They're one of my favourites. But I would say probably Fawlty Towers.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I think because my wife says, she says there's so many similarities between you and Basil Fawlty. Yeah, no, just because I hit the car with a stick and things like that. No, I would say that's probably my favourite of all time.
Me and my husband have taken up, you know, when Manuel has the rat and they want to put him to sleep, and he says, "What is sleep?" Well, me and my husband now, if we're tired, it's like, "Oh, I'm really sleepy, I've got to go to sleep." And it's just become, instead of saying the word sleep, we say sleep now. And when we're around people must think like, what are they on about?
Yeah, you do pick things up. But if anybody ever mentions a rat now, they'll say, no, Siberian hamster. And that type of thing. But I would say that was my favourite. I do like one just now, Still Game. I just love that. That's just so funny. It's
very witty.
It's a kind of parody. It's almost a parody.
Aye.
It's good. But the thing up here is we all know people. We all know people who are in that show. I think that's one of the things.
Cool. Favourite sport?
Oh, football. My wife would tell you I'm obsessed with it.
Uh-huh.
And I watch a team who aren't, well, they're proving a wee bit. Clyde SC, they're a couple of years ago they ended up the worst team in Scotland. Due to financial things, it was the usual thing, like they spent too much money, but they're climbing back up. I go there every week. My son's even bought a season ticket and still lives down south, but my other son goes. My wife hates football with a vengeance. So she doesn't, it's on all the time, so she just gets away into another room and says that. She does say that if it came to choosing between her and my football team, I would choose the football team. I have said to her, no, I wouldn't choose the football team. But we'll not test it. No, but we'll not test that theory out. No, it's very much an obsession. And I still play. Every fortnight I play. And we've organised. I used to organise tours. We used to go and play in Portugal and Germany and Holland, Belgium, and things. So we're all still. Fantastic. We're all 58. I'm 58. Some of them are 60.
Wow.
40. So we're still playing away. Still thinking we're.
Oh, amazing.
And not a sign of middle-age spread anywhere.
No, it's not. And we still get into arguments. We still get into arguments over it, which is ridiculous. But I would say football. That's my main. I just watch it all the time. As I said, it's an obsession. It's ridiculous.
Cool.
Favourite book?
I have to say now, my wife would tell you this as well, I am a terrible reader. But I take a book on holiday or whatever, read half of it, and never finish it. So I've never been a great reader at all, which people will probably tell you when I write an email to them, they can understand why I haven't. But if I was to be, I do like John Grisham.
Okay.
I like that whole legal thriller.
Yeah.
The other thing. And I kind of started a wee bit kind of halfway through. Well, not halfway through because he's not even near that now. I got the Pelican Brief, which is it's a fantastic book. So I think that was about 7 or 8 into the series. So I had to kind of work my way back and kind of work it over. So I'll normally take something like that on holiday. James Patterson as well, I quite like him.
Yeah.
But legal thrillers, I do like. I like that. He's very, very good. But that would be.
Cool.
That would probably be one.
Favourite pastime or hobby?
Football.
Football again.
Football. No, we do like one of our pastimes, and people will tell you over there is me and my wife love going on holiday. So we take maybe 3-4 continental holidays a year.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, well, my sons will say that they're just away all the time. And when we are away, the phone call. One of them's still at home. The phone call, he'll say to his friends or whatever. He says they'll phone home. They'll say. They don't say, how are you? They'll say, how are the 2 cats? Are the cats okay? So that's we do like travelling, we do like going, and we like going up north now and again. We'll go away for the night or whatever.
Oh, nice.
But really, and walking as well. I like doing a lot of walking, but football takes up so much time. I don't do anything else. I'm very one-dimensional. Cooking. I quite like cooking.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Childhood ambition?
Oh, guess.
Football player.
That was an ambition, yes. In those days, it was a lot hard. I would think it would be a lot harder to get into the system in the days, because it was very, very thingy. So that would be my ambition. The other the other ambition would probably be to be a train driver.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I saw trains and I thought, gosh, that looks really good. Being now looking at the wages, I really wish I had become a train driver, specifically in the London Tube.
And you don't have to work because of all the strikes and,
No, but I think,
and the things not working. Yeah,
but it is a very stressful job, I think,
I
as
can
well.
imagine.
You know, it is, can be. But that was probably. And I don't think I ever really had particular ambitions or no. I think that was it. And then after that, I thought I better go and do something else because I'm not going to make a living out of football.
Which your mum gave advice about.
Which my mum did give me advice about. Yes, my dad told me as well. But that was
Get a job, son.
that was it. Go and get a job. Yeah.
Do you have any claims to fame? Or any famous people you've met? I mean, in your exercise science, I'm sure you must have.
Oh yeah, we used to get a lot of we used to get Celtic coming in.
Aye.
So met a few of those players and things like that. No, I haven't really met that many famous people at all. No, not really. I tend not to, even if I saw somebody famous, I would tend not to speak to them. No, because I think they're out doing something else. You know?
Yeah,
Do they really want somebody coming up and saying... I've met a couple of people in airports and all I've just said is, listen, I really, really enjoyed, you know, I've seen your shows, I really, really enjoyed them. I just wanted to say that. And then that would be it, but not really anybody. No. I don't really get any claims to fame.
I
don't think so anyway.
Well, no, I think
working
you
on your
do,
40
you do,
years,
exactly, no,
40 year might be a claim to... Well, I don't know if that's a claim to fame. It might be a sign of desperation more than anything else, and not being able to do anything else.
No, you're the face of University of Glasgow, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it's... No, I don't think I've ever appeared in anything. My son's appeared in a couple of TV shows in the background that they were doing at their school. So they've got a claim to fame, but I haven't got anything.
And finally, although I think we can probably answer this, if you weren't a scientist, what would you choose as an alternative career?
Do you know, it's funny because I'm not going to say football.
No? Or train driver?
No, not a train driver. One thing I probably, and I said to my wife, what I probably would have done was went into kind of hospitality.
Okay.
See, like kind of maybe, you know, working abroad in hotels, you know, doing that kind of thing, you know, or organising events. I'd quite like to do that.
Okay.
I quite like to do that kind of thing. You know, maybe organising conferences, that type of thing. You know, all these kind of things.
The whiteboard approach.
Yeah. My mother would have loved me to become a priest, but I don't think
Okay.
that was never one of my ambitions. Although religion does play a really, really big part in my life.
Right.
And I think it's one of the things that one of the things with the university is that really is good is that I can go up to mass a couple of days a week up the road in the Turnbull Hall. So that's religion's always played a big part.
Okay.
Big part in my life, but I never really would. Never. I don't think a priesthood certainly wasn't for me. I don't think so. But no, that would be it.
Fantastic.
That's interesting.
So there's nothing else. Does that mean I'm free now to go?
You're free to go. So thank you very much, Paul, for taking the time.
Well, hopefully that gives a small insight into what a chief technician does. And
I'm sure.
Absolutely, and lots of advice.
It's very one-dimensional.
No,
football. You want to speak to me about anything, speak to me about football, and I'll speak to you about it all day, every day.
Guessing you will get questions on that.
I will do. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Thank you.
And see you all in the next podcast.